When life feels uncertain, there are days when the future feels unclear, days when plans fall apart, prayers seem unanswered, and hope feels fragile. Days when you wonder if your life is unfolding the way it should, or if something has gone terribly wrong. If you are in one of those seasons today, pause for a moment and breathe. You are not lost, you are not forgotten, and your life is not out of control. There is a plan at work, one greater than what you can see, one deeper than what you can understand right now, and that plan belongs to God. Today's message is a reminder of this simple but powerful truth. You can trust God's plan even when you don't understand it. 1. God's plan exists even when you can't see it. One of the hardest things about trusting God's plan is that we rarely see the full picture. We see moments, God sees lifetimes. We see obstacles, God sees outcomes. Just because you cannot trace God's hand does not mean His hand is absent. God's plan does not disappear when things become confusing. It does not fall apart when your expectations are unmet. It does not change because of a setback, a delay, or a disappointment. His plan is steady even when life feels unstable. 2. God's plan is rooted in love. God's plan for your life is not driven by punishment, cruelty, or indifference. It is rooted in love. Even when circumstances feel painful, God's heart towards you remains good. Love does not always look like ease. Sometimes love looks like growth. Sometimes it looks like waiting. Sometimes it looks like protection from something you cannot yet see. God's plan is not always comfortable, but it is always caring. 3. When your plan fails, God's plan continues. Many people lose hope when their own plans fall apart. They assume that failure means the end of purpose. But when your plan fails, God's plan does not. Closed doors are not always rejection. Sometimes they are redirection. Sometimes they are rescue. Sometimes they are preparation for something better. What feels like an ending may simply be a turning point. 4. Trusting God. When life doesn't make sense, trust becomes necessary when understanding runs out. There will be moments when life does not make sense, moments when the timing feels wrong, moments when the outcome feels unfair. Trusting God's plan does not mean pretending everything is fine. It means believing that God is still good, even when life is hard. Hope is not denying reality. It is believing God is greater than it. 5. God is working in ways you cannot see. While you are waiting, wondering, and worrying, God is working. He is aligning details. He is shaping hearts. He is preparing opportunities. He is strengthening your character. Some of God's most important work happens quietly, behind the scenes, where human eyes cannot see. Just because nothing seems to be happening does not mean nothing is happening. 6. God's plan is not rushed. God is not in a hurry. We live in a world that demands instant results, quick answers, and fast success. But God's plan unfolds at the right pace, not the rushed one. He knows when you are ready. He knows when circumstances are aligned. He knows when the moment is right. Trusting God's plan means trusting His timing. 7. Waiting is not wasted time. Waiting often feels unproductive, but in God's plan, waiting is purposeful. Waiting builds patience. Waiting strengthens faith. Waiting deepens dependence on God. Some lessons can only be learned in the waiting season. If you are waiting today, know this: your waiting has meaning. 8. God's plan includes growth. God cares more about who you are becoming than what you are achieving. Sometimes His plan slows things down because growth is needed. Growth in wisdom, growth in humility, growth in faith, growth in strength. Success without maturity can be dangerous. God prepares you before He promotes you. 9. Trusting God. When the path is unclear, you don't need to see the whole path to take the next step. Faith is not about clarity, it is about obedience. It is choosing to move forward even when you don't have all the answers. God often reveals the next step, not the entire journey. 10. God's plan is personal comparison can steal hope. When you look at others, it may seem like their lives are moving faster, smoother, or easier. But God's plan for you is unique. Your journey is not behind. Your timing is not wrong. Your life is not off track. God's plan is tailored specifically for you. 11. When pain is part of the plan. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Sometimes pain is part of God's plan, not because God enjoys suffering, but because pain can produce depth, empathy, strength, and wisdom that comfort cannot. God never wastes pain. He redeems it. 12. Trusting God. After disappointment can make trusting God feel risky. But disappointment does not cancel God's plan, it refines it. What disappointed you may have saved you. What broke your heart may have redirected your life. God's plan often looks different than expected, but it is never careless. 13. God's plan is bigger than one season. This season does not define your whole story. What you are experiencing now is a chapter, not the conclusion. God's plan unfolds over time, not moments. Hold on, there is more ahead. 14. Trusting God when you feel weak. You don't have to feel strong to trust God. Trust is not about confidence, it is about surrender. God's strength shows up best when yours feels limited. 15. Hope is found in trust. Hope grows when you trust that God knows what He is doing. Hope says, this is not the end. Hope says, God is still working. Hope says, my future is in good hands. 16. God's plan is steady. When life is shaky, life may feel unpredictable, but God is not. He is consistent. He is faithful. He is dependable. You can rest in that truth. 17. Letting go of control. Trusting God's plan requires releasing control. Control creates anxiety. Trust creates peace. You were never meant to carry everything alone. 18. God's plan is filled with purpose. Nothing in your life is random. Every experience, good or bad, can be used for purpose. God weaves meaning into moments we don't understand yet. 19. Trusting God for today. Trust is not just about the future, it's about today. Trust God with today's worries. Trust God with today's decisions. Trust God with today's emotions. Today matters. 20. God's plan brings peace. When you trust God's plan, peace follows. Not because everything is perfect, but because you know God is in control. 21. When fear tries to take over, fear focuses on what might go wrong. Trust focuses on who God is. Fear shrinks hope. Trust strengthens it. 22. God's plan cannot be stopped. No mistake, no delay, no obstacle is powerful enough to cancel God's plan for your life. Grace covers detours. 23. Hope for the discouraged. If you feel discouraged today, remember this: God is not finished with you. What feels broken can still be beautiful. 24. Choosing trust daily. Trusting God's plan is a daily decision. Some days it will be easy, some days it will be hard. God remains faithful through all of them. 25. A reminder for today: you are not forgotten, you are not behind, you are not alone. God's plan is unfolding even now. Rest in God's plan. Trusting God's plan does not mean you will understand everything. It means you believe God understands everything. Let go of fear. Hold on to hope. Rest in trust, because God's plan for your life is good and there is hope for today.